I have said many times it was a mistake, and if I could go back, I would do it differently.
You have said that you would talk to anyone, any time about your emails, yet you did not cooperate with State Department investigators, an agency that you ran. Why?
Well, I have talked about this for many, many months. I testified for 11 hours before the committee, the Benghazi committee. I have answered numerous questions. We have posted information on our website, and the information that we had is out there. It's been clearly public, and my email use was widely known in the department, throughout the government, and I have provided all of my work-related emails, and I've asked that they be made public. And I think that, that demonstrates that I wanted to make sure that this information was part of the official records.
That was mind-boggling. The number of false statements contained within that.
Amazing.
I mean, I don't want to be like negative. I really don't. But that was just mind-boggling. Does she not have anybody around her that can tell her, Jim Van Dyke, we got to really stop lying about this, because everything she said in there was just a lie. I mean, it was allowed by the State Department. No, it was not allowed by the State Department.
That was the whole point of the news this week.
Everybody knew in the State Department that we were doing it. No, they said we didn't know, but if we did know, we wouldn't allow her to do it. And she goes on. And, she sent out directives in 2011 saying, don't do it the way I'm doing it, basically. In 2009, there was a federal regulation as far as record keeping goes, passed across the entire government. I mean, Jim, I don't understand. It just doesn't help her honest and trustworthy. I mean, she's just not telling the truth. And the own State Department said, you're not telling the truth. It would be better for her politically to say, I screwed up and I'm really sorry. Why can't they do it?
And end it there. You're teasing this focus group that you're doing. I bet you, I can guarantee you what they're going to say in that focus group, which is, that's why they don't like Hillary Clinton. It's not just that some of the stuff is blatantly inaccurate.
But is there no one around her that can tell her,
no,
Madam Secretary, you got to start telling the truth.
You end up in this little bubble where they all have that bunker mentality. There's 4 or 5 people who can really speak into her life. It's always been the truth about her. There's not a big group of people, and they love her, and they think she's always right. And no, clearly no one's just saying to do what you're saying she should do.
To tell the truth.
Otherwise, you wouldn't do an interview and get that answer.
To tell the truth.
So the Washington Post editorial board writes about Clinton's inexcusable, willful disregard for the rules. Hillary's use of a private email server while Secretary of State from 2009 to 2013 has been justifiably criticized as an error of judgment. What the new report from the State Department Inspector General makes clear is that it also was not a casual oversight. Mrs. Clinton had plenty of warnings to use official government communications methods so as to make sure that her records were properly preserved to minimize cybersecurity risks. She ignored them. While not illegal behavior, it was disturbingly unmindful of the rules. In the middle of the presidential campaign, we urged the FBI to finish its own investigation soon, so all information about this troubling episode will be before the voters.
And the New York Times editorial board writes this: across the years of the Clintons' ascendancy, the public has seen that Mrs. Clinton can be fiercely protective of her roles and prerogatives, at times grudging and admitting error, and during Bill Clinton's presidency blaming a vast right-wing conspiracy for allegations against her and her husband that began early in his tenure and continued through the impeachment scandal. This defensive posture seems to be at play in the email controversy, as well as her refusal, for that matter, to release the lucrative speeches she made to Wall Street audiences. The reflex she is revealing again now, to hunker down when challenged, is likely to make her seem less personal to many voters, and it will surely inflame critics' charges of underlying arrogance. She plays into Trump's hands.
But your answer is the correct answer, right? Just to say, listen, I wanted to keep my personal emails personal. I screwed up. I'm sorry. And where she gets herself into trouble, where her spokesman gets himself into trouble, is when they use these really cute words, or I did nothing wrong with my work related.
But you know, Jim Van Dyke, this is more than a screw up, right? Like, you know that. I mean, that's what she should say, but you understand this is way more, far more problematic than a screw-up, right?
In the scheme
and that
of
there
life, is it? I mean, again, it's become a big issue because of the way that she's handled it.
Well,
No, actually, the action
the
of
classified information.
Right.
We don't know what the FBI is going to rule on that because the State Department themselves said that 22 of those emails that passed through the servers were of such a sensitive, classified nature that to release them would be devastating to America's national interest.
Right.
So Richard Haass, you just do wonder why they keep going out there and why Hillary has gone out there repeatedly saying what I did was approved by the State Department. It was allowed by the State Department. When the State Department clearly
She just says
said,
it was allowed, loosely.
No, it was not allowed. She didn't ask. If she did ask, we would tell her, hell no.
No, and the State Department had and has a classified system. It's okay to have a personal system. Indeed, the idea is to have two. It's the commingling that gets you in trouble. When Powell became secretary, he actually wanted the State Department to become more wired to the world. It wasn't enough just to have the classified stuff. You wanted to be able to go on the internet to see what was going on, to have a larger set of connections. But commingling is what gets you in trouble, and setting up the separate system and, again, bringing the two together. Well, it
And
was
how
obviously
sad
a
and
mistake.
pathetic, how sad and pathetic when Clinton supporters and people in the media say, well, you know, Colin Powell did this also. Colin Powell did this at a time where there were not the rules that there were when Hillary Clinton was there.
discovered that things could be hacked.
The world was completely different when Colin Powell was doing it, and everybody knows that. I don't know why people saying that really think Americans are that stupid, but they do.
Yeah.
Also, it was the only email that she used, so she forced people that wanted to send sensitive information to her through that one unsecured system in her house.
The Colin Powell piece, the reference back to Colin Powell, is just a dodge in my view, because the reality of it is the systems were different, number one. Number two, the rules were changed when she got into office. The administration made that very clear. But number three, here's the thing. Even if you want to use Colin Powell as an example, or the former secretaries of state as an example, all those other former Secretary of States, including the current Secretary of State, submitted themselves and subjected themselves to interviews by the State Department in this investigation. She has yet to do that. And so if you want to make that comparison, then why didn't you subject yourself to a one-on-one interview to lay out exactly the facts as you saw them so that they could put that in the context of the report that we saw released this week? And so there's still that avoidance issue that still, bothers people, and that trustworthy point goes right to that.
Jim Vandehei, stay with us. Coming up, littering, loitering, and drinking booze out of a bag will no longer be criminal offenses.